What to Know About the Second Amendment by Emily Beattie and Bryn Kuyanga.
Adopted in 1791 with the creation of the Bill of Rights, the Second Amendment was written in order to organize, arm, and discipline the federal militia. The Second Amendment reads, "A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed." This mimicked ancient Roman and Florentine constitutions in the belief that it would make every citizen a soldier and every soldier a citizen. Since its initial creation, the Second Amendment has shifted from an issue of federal security to that of an individual's security, ensuring the right to carry and use arms for self-defense.
The Second Amendment right is arguably the most controversial part of the Bill of Rights at this moment. Due to the lack of control over military-grade weapons, many in the country call for reform. However, there isn't much that can be done. The phrasing of the right is what makes it so difficult. It's so incredibly vague, Congress can't figure out what they can and cannot do without violating the rights of U.S. citizens. Do we still have a need for militia? Is it necessary to have a semi-automatic weapon to secure a free state? What does keep and bear arms mean exactly? The placement of the comma is also interesting, and it changes the meaning of the amendment if it is removed or placed elsewhere. So to some, the language and grammar are hard to pin down. The U.S. government has been able to enforce some regulations despite the complexity of the amendment. Weapons can be used for defense in 4 different areas: for the nation, against the nation, self-defense, and hunting/sports. For the nation was an ideal that allowed for militias to easily be formed with short notice, and was to make every citizen a soldier if needed to defend the country. Against the nation allows for citizens of the U.S. to act on their right to challenge the government if it becomes corrupt or does not represent the rights and laws it was founded upon. Self-defense is in regard to safety for oneself, as well as protecting their family and home. Finally, guns are permitted for hunting for food and sport. While it is a federal right, states can have their own regulations. Some of these include who can own guns, where they can use and take them, and the types of firearms they have access to.
When the Bill of Rights was written, the nation had just emerged victorious from the American Revolutionary War. At the time, it was seemingly crucial that all individuals be ready with a musket and a bayonet in case another war broke out on American soil, as it did later in the 1860s with the American Civil War. However, it's now been over 150 years since America has seen war within the nation, and technology has changed dramatically. In 1776, when using a musket, a soldier would be considered lucky if he hit a target that was over 150 yards away, as the guns lacked sights and were poorly crafted in regards to being aerodynamic, as the large, round lead balls or bullets would lose velocity very quickly. Now, we have technology such as semi-automatic assault rifles, with rifles being able to shoot a target 1,000 yards away, which is over half a mile. The easy accessibility to guns has had major repercussions with the technological advancements. While it's acknowledged that the growth of technology has been beneficial for members of the federal militia, such as the United States Army or the United States Marine Corps, our nation has suffered mass atrocities as a result. Since 1999, there have been 155 mass shootings in the United States. Though only 32, roughly a quarter of them, were done so by the use of a semi-automatic assault rifle, they account for the cause of 377 deaths, which is over 40%. Additionally, they account for 988 injuries in these incidents, which is an even larger 69%.
There are 2 main cases that help distinguish what is and what is not constitutional in regard to the Second Amendment. The first one is U.S. v. Miller, which reached the Supreme Court in 1939. In Arkansas, the Federal District Court charged Jack Miller and Frank Layton with violating the National Firearms Act of 1934, known as the NFA, when they transported a sawed-off, double-barrel 12-gauge shotgun in interstate commerce. The defense argued that the NFA violated their Second Amendment right to keep and bear arms, to which the court agreed. However, the Supreme Court argued that the Second Amendment does not protect that type of weapon, as it does not have a reasonable relationship to a well-guided militia. This case banned machine guns. The second case is titled the District of Columbia v. Heller, which took place more recently in 2008. Changes to the general laws of the District of Columbia made it illegal to carry an unregistered firearm and prohibited the registration of handguns, though the local chief of police could issue one-year licenses for them. The laws also contained provisions that required owners of weapons to keep them unloaded and disassembled/bound by a trigger lock unless the firearms were located in a place of business or being used for legal recreational activities. Dick Anthony Heller was a D.C. Special Police Officer who was authorized to carry a handgun while on duty. He applied for a one-year license for a handgun he wished to keep at home, but his application was denied. Heller sued the District of Columbia. He sought an injunction against the enforcement and argued that they violated his Second Amendment right. The court dismissed the complaint. The U.S. Court of Appeals for the D.C. Circuit reversed and held that the Second Amendment protects the right to keep firearms in the home for the purpose of self-defense, and the District of Columbia's requirement that firearms kept in the home be unusable violated that right. These cases helped establish certain limits, like the fact that machine guns are unlawful. It also helped to see how far the limits could be pushed, such as with the fact that it is unconstitutional to require that guns be disabled in the home.